Ladies and gentlemen, we have our head coach, John Harbaugh, just got introduced in his press conference, his first press conference as the New York Giants football coach. Shout out to everyone that was tuning in, watching the live stream. Shout out to my guy Omega early in the chat, man. It's been a little while. Great press conference. He just gave the players a mandate. If you don't love football, you don't need to be here. That is one of my key points I want to walk away with talking about with John Harbaugh, man. It's been a little while. There was a lot of things going on when it came down to signing John Harbaugh, right? We had certain things taking place where it felt like we were signing John Harbaugh, and then at one point, it looked like it was in shaky water. But we are here today on January 20th, 2026, on this Tuesday. Let's remember what this is like, man. Let's remember what this feeling is like walking away from this press conference, ultimately knowing that John Harbaugh introduced as a head coach, and hopefully a lot of new things coming our way, a lot of changes coming in the New York Giants organization. It's a historic day. See a lot of people on Twitter talking about it is a historic day, and I think it is for the right reasons. John Harbaugh is the New York Giants head coach after a long, reign in Baltimore, 18 years. The Giants haven't had a good leader in the past couple of years. We've had little spurts of a one year wonder in the playoffs, but man, I wish football was going on right now as we speak, man. Shout out to CM Moore, man. What's good, Juke? I've been good. I've been good, man. How you guys been doing? Life's been busy, man. Life has been busy. I'll be transparent, but I will say this got me fired up, and I just want to talk about Giants football. We're in the off season now, so there's not going to be anything going on for a little bit, but the Giants are still going to go find their other coaches that'll be out there, man. But I'm so glad that they got John Harbaugh in the building. So glad they got John Harbaugh in the building, man. Like the stream if you haven't already. Make sure you say what's up in the chat. We read every single chat in this building. Got a lot of couple things I want to touch on with John Harbaugh. And ultimately, this is the guy. This is the guy I think we needed. This should be the guy moving forward that in my opinion is going to change the way the Giants operate. And I mean that in a good way, not in a bad way. John Harbaugh is seemingly getting hate from former Ravens fans, and some people are over here downing us about getting John Harbaugh, especially with how he left the other team. But I'm letting you know right now, man, this guy's going to change the culture within this team, and it's going to be different. We talked about it in training camp, thinking it was going to be different during training camp. This guy lives and breathes football, and he wants players that live and breathe football. I loved how he was speaking. And we're breaking down a press conference, right? I mean, he's talking to reporters and talking for the Giants YouTube channel. But I say all that to say that he was directing, certain answers towards the players that were in the room. Shout out to all the players that were there, by the way. But he was speaking to the players that were in the room and letting it be known about what he felt. This light is too white on me right now. My favorite quote is if you have guys that don't live to play football, they will be playing somewhere else. Exactly. When he looked at Joe Shane and said that, it was great, man. It was great. I'm doing better knowing we got a coach. That's what I'm saying, man. Hold on, let me change the light real quick. Need to give it a little bit more character instead of the white light that it was. I love that we were his first and only real choice. That's something to walk away with, man. And that's why I want to give Joe Shane some credit, right? I'm not going to sit here and give Joe Shane all the credit in the world, but I will tell you, man, we were all concerned who's going to end up signing with the Giants, knowing that at the end of the day, Joe Shane is probably on the can soon. That didn't even come up in John Harbaugh's mind. I don't think. I really don't. John Harbaugh wanted to coach for the New York Giants, wanted to coach the players on the New York Giants, and I'm glad we have a coach that wants to be here. There was other candidates. Don't get me wrong. There was other candidates that were available, but I really do think we were his first choice. This is what I want to get to as well. He was bossing around Joe. I'm gonna be honest, man. I just feel like we have a leader. We have a leader of men in the room, and we have a leader that is not willing to honestly succumb to whoever's above him. We know what they were pushing for in the Giants contract when it came to John Harbaugh and the Giants reporting solely to the ownership. And shout out to Dan Duggan. Dan Duggan asking the right questions. He pretty much asked John Harbaugh why is it so known that you want to solely report to the ownership? And of course, John Harbaugh piped it down a bit because we know that they're talking about him and Joe Shane not having that connection. But I think it says a lot. And the amount of times that, John Harbaugh through his press conference was looking at Joe and just telling him how we're going to operate, I really do think that's how it's going to be, man. John Harbaugh is going to have his hands over everything. And when you think about it, that's one of the perks of having a coach that's like this, right? I mean, some people wanted an offensive minded coach, a defensive minded coach that's going to lead the X's and O's. John Harbaugh is what everyone is saying, that CEO type of leader that is going to have his hands on everything and continue to, in my opinion, change around this team. Is his dad a Giants? He had a lot to do with his choice. Yeah, I mean, his dad seemed like a Giants fan back in the day. It seems like it, but I think it's the history is there with the Giants, and that's what everyone alludes to, right? And I've been saying on this channel for the last couple of years, man, especially because we haven't been too good, is that history only, turns into more history if we don't replicate it. And I do know at the end of the day, it does bring some people to the team, right? It does say a lot about the legacy of the New York Giants, but we can't let that be a distant history thing. We can't let whatever the Giants did back in the day remain back in the day, right? I mean, we could look at other franchises that were good way back when, but we need to stay relevant now. And I do think that John Harbaugh should be on our way to getting us back to being relevant. That's what we need to be. This whole last 2 weeks, right? Because John Harbaugh floated around as a name, and then he ended up becoming the coach, and then he wasn't the coach, and now he is, right? In my opinion, I do think something got to give, and I'm hoping it's given in the right way. Either the Giants start winning games or Harbaugh starts losing games. Harbaugh has not lost games in his career like that. His career coaching, he has not had that many losing seasons, let alone disastrous seasons that we have every year. Meanwhile, the Giants don't do a whole lot of winning. We have a couple years where we have one good year, make it to the playoffs, but we don't have a consistent record with this team. Something got to give. Either Harbaugh is going to get us on track, or the other constant will remain the same. And I do think Harbaugh should be the one putting us in the right standpoint, man. I will say, before Harbaugh even became available, I was worried. I was worried about what coach is going to come in here and coach the New York Giants. I wasn't the biggest fan of Stefanski. I wasn't the biggest fan of the other guys. I mean, you could have looked at a Jesse Minter or a Jeff Hafley that just got signed with the Miami Dolphins. But I'm glad we got a guy that has experience, has done it before, and has done it for a long time. We're not talking about a one-year wonder, a coach of the year one time. And honestly, I don't even know if John Harbaugh has a coach of the year. I got to search that up. I don't know if John Harbaugh has one. But even if he does not, you don't magically coach a team for 18 years if you're not successful. I don't even know if he has a coach of the year. And that just goes to show, in my opinion, how inflated it might be. He won coach of the year in 2019. And that was when they were 14-2, number one in the AFC. He does have one in 2019, right? But I look at it and you think about, Dayball, coach of the year winner, out of the building. Kevin Stefanski, coach of the year winner, out of the building. Kevin O'Connell, coach of the year winner, potentially out of the building. Harbaugh looked like a senator or governor up there. That's true. I heard the Giants going to heavily pursue ex-Ravens players, especially Linderbaum. I did see that. I think it was Ian O'Connor, not Ian O'Connor. SNY's Giants. I can't remember his name right now, but I did see that report. That's huge, especially if it's Linderbaum. I think our offensive line was good last year, but if we want to talk about one of the weak points, it was the center/guard position. Can't remember who tweeted that. I literally just saw that. But I would take Linderbaum for sure. The Ravens have been consistently in the running in the AFC, right? The AFC North has had their certain turns, right? Where the Steelers have taken the division, the Ravens have taken the division. The Giants have won not a lot of games. Meanwhile, the Ravens continue to win with John Harbaugh at the helm. For anyone that's not a fan, I don't know too many people that's not a fan of John Harbaugh. I don't. Some people I've seen that were upset that the Giants were on top of this man, sending out the Avengers to go speak with him. We had Eli Manning, Tom Coughlin. People just felt like he didn't deserve to be that sought out. The Giants want to fix things around. The ownership team want to fix things around, and it seems like that's where we're headed. They wanted to. They needed a guy like that, and he became available, and they had to pounce. And I'm glad they did. I didn't want Mike McCarthy coaching this team. And some people compare Mike McCarthy to, John Harbaugh. I do think they're two different coaches. Well, you can look at what the X's and O's bring in terms of Mike McCarthy being an offensive coordinator and running the offense versus, when you look at John Harbaugh leading the team, two different coaches, man. I did not want to side with Mike McCarthy. I want Linderbaum and Likely. Man, I hate that we have to talk about the tight end position because we shouldn't have to, but we do. We definitely do. Whether that be Likely or another candidate. I will say, man, I do think John Harbaugh changes what the draft looks like. And listen, we're a couple of months away from the draft. Draft takes place in April. So we do have a couple of months to talk about it. The Giants are picking number 5, but you could see a guy like Caleb Downs on this team. You could see a guy like Caleb Downs on this team. I was going wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. It's looking like, well, we'll see. We'll see after they hire whoever they're going to hire. Connor Hughes. Connor Hughes is the one that I was speaking on. But as it states here, man, Chris Mara said he told John Mara and Steve Tisch he wasn't waiting any longer. He was driving to Baltimore the day before the playoffs started to meet with John Harbaugh. Said he never talked to him before. Tom Coughlin set the entire thing up. On his way home, he called John Mara and Steve Tisch and said, this guy wants to be a Giant. Shout out to Chris Mara. Shout out to Chris Mara. Getting it done. Getting it done. This right here is what some people saw. I'm tiny on the screen. Let's put it on the left. This right here is what some people saw and got concerned about. Why are the Giants all over John Harbaugh? Meanwhile, the Ravens got rid of John Harbaugh. Listen, we know John Harbaugh wanted to be a Giant, and we also know we needed him to be a Giant. We needed it badly. I can't think of any other candidate that I really would have wanted that could change around this franchise the way most likely it will be. Hopefully we drop Caleb Downs at 5. I think that's a realistic choice. I'm saying I got to do more research on Caleb Downs overall as a player. We know he's a hard-hitting safety that is extremely smart. Listen, he's not one of the top players in all of college football at the safety position for no reason. But, man, honestly, I'm going to be transparent. I've never seen Chris Mara. Let me know if you guys can hear this. I'm gonna try to play the audio. If you can't hear the audio, I apologize, but we're gonna try to listen.
Chris, what was how much you had spoken to him before this process?
Never.
Never.
No.
And so is it just an immediate?
No, I got in contact with him after a conversation with Tom Coughlin, and he's the one that put us together.
Chris, was Tom over the top?
He was absolutely over the top.
For future reference, can y'all let me know in the chat? Can y'all hear this video? I'm gonna play it back.
For this process?
Never.
Never.
No.
And so is it just an immediate?
No, I got in contact with him after a conversation with Tom Coughlin, and he's the one that put us together.
Chris, was Tom over the top?
He was absolutely over the top. He yelled at me 15 times before it was done. And once we got it done, he yelled at me again. So,
Chris,
let me know if y'all heard that in the chat, man. Overall, I will say, man, even speaking on Tom Coughlin playing a huge part, right? Tom Coughlin didn't have to. He did not have to. But hearing Tom Coughlin play a huge part in what the Giants had moving forward, man, we know he loved coaching the New York Giants. And when you think about him walking off of that presser, walking out that presser as not the coach, man, it still stinks to this day. But you're glad at the end of the day that hopefully we had a little gap. We had a little gap in between Tom Coughlin and now. But let the new generation, let the new resurgence of the Giants start now. Let's do it now. Caleb can play other positions as well, return kicks if needed. Hey, we got Deontay Banks returning kicks. What we got to focus on that for? That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Interviews will start tomorrow with other positions. Offensive coordinator, defense coordinator. Interviews will start tomorrow, so that's good. Once again, man, this is one of the quotes. Shout out to Art Stapleton. Had a lot of people from the beat out there. But this quote right here, man, if you don't love football, you're not going to like it here. This right here is what it's all about. If you don't love football, you're not going to like it here. We need players that want to play football. We need players that enjoy playing the sport of football, that want to come in and have that hunger, Have that drive to go win football games, man. No more Jalen Hyatts, no more Deontay Banks, no more lack of efforts. We need coaches that are going to hold these guys accountable. We know Brian Daboll was not doing that. We know what his staff was not doing. At the end of the day, John Harbaugh is going to be able to instill that in these coaches, man, in these coaches and these players. He repeatedly said it. Starts from the top up, top down, top down. It goes all the way up, but it starts from the top down, man. Change needs to happen, and it starts from the top. And I'm glad we have, in my opinion, a coach that has done it before, man. 18 years is not a slight. I really continue to harp on that. 18 years, you don't magically become a coach for a team 18 years. And I'll be transparent. Off the rip, I was worried that is he going to want to coach again, right? He spent 18 years with the same team. Is he going to want to coach again? They asked him about it, and he said that he never thought about even stopping. He don't have that much time left. Shout out to Justin Pennick. Listen, we support all, big blue content creators. Harbaugh using this presser to talk directly to his players, and Joe Shane is funny and cool. That's exactly what's going on through my mind when I was watching it. That's exactly what was going on when I was watching it, man. For me, when you think about a leader of men, that's what you shouldn't want as your coach. We talk about players, coaches. Brian Daboll was a player coach. We need guys that are going to hold these guys accountable and let them know when they stink. We can't have guys like Jalen Hyatt giving lack of effort consistently and still remaining on this team. That can't happen. You got the GM that hired him. You got the GM that drafted him. But I do think you're not going to see players like that exist on this team, man. I do think so. Let's hear, once again, is there any coordinators you want? Mine will be McDaniel, even though I know we won't. I definitely was, excited to think about Mike McDaniel. I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, I really don't see that happening with Mike McDaniels. But I'm going to go where the smoke is. And I'll be honest, it kind of pushed me in that direction, seeing the smoke. Todd Monken. We're going to see what Tom Monken got going on because he is interviewing for a couple of different head coach positions. But I think if he's going to stay offensive coordinator, he's coming to New York to coach with John Harbaugh. We know what he did with Lamar Jackson back-to-back years. He could have won MVP back-to-back years. He won MVP one of those years. This past year wasn't great, but when you think about your quarterback is out for a significant stretch, and then your quarterback is not the same coming back, yeah, man. I do think Todd Monken is probably going to be the guy, and I'm bought in on it. I really am. You want coaches that can mold certain players, right? You want to surround them with exactly what they need. Lamar Jackson is that type of quarterback that you need to surround him with what he's used to. And what he's used to ultimately and what he can run in that offense. I think Todd Monken did a great job doing that. I think he could do a great job with Jackson Dart. I think he can. Let's see what this video is talking about.
Think about the whole management structure changing now, like as a whole, like reporting directly to ownership rather than to the general manager.
Listen, life has plenty of changes, and we've tried both ways, and we're just comfortable doing this with him. I think with anybody else, maybe it might not have happened that way, but everyone was agreement, so we're good.
Think about the whole management structure.
That was pretty much talking about, ownership structure, that piece changing. Trying to see if there's anything else. I feel like we didn't see no picture. I know they don't hold up a jersey, but they should hold up like the helmet. We got no picture yet or anything. We got a guy that wanted to be here. That's the most important thing. We got a guy that wanted to be here. We know what he's done with other teams, but we got a guy that is going to be here and wanted to be here. Shout out to Kid Blue. It did look a little weird. Joe Shane was a little weird in the beginning of that press conference. I'll be honest. Joe Shane was a little bit weird. I'm expecting to go at least 8-9, which I believe is Harbaugh's worst season in 18 years. Yeah, he might have had one season that fell below 8 wins, but agreed. That's what I wanted. That's what I was saying in the beginning of the stream, and That's what I'm gonna be looking at, man. Something got to give, and I hope it breaks in the right direction for us, right? The Giants don't do a lot of winning. John Harbaugh does a lot of winning. We got to go in one direction or the other. 8 wins would be phenomenal for us. 8 wins would be phenomenal because I remind you guys, we haven't done that. We've done that twice in the last, I believe, 10 years. No joke. Twice in the last 10 years. Insane. We won 7 games in the last 2 years. I'm excited to see what happens moving forward once again. Want to get a reaction with you guys at overall about this press conference. Can't break down every single word he says, right? But this is the closest extension we'll have of Giants football for a little while. They're going to be making some hirings. They're going to bring in some offensive coordinator, defensive coordinators. Hopefully make a decision on that soon. Whenever they do, we will be talking about it, right? Because besides that, it dries up for a little bit. We're going to get free agency. We're going to get the draft. And then football comes back in September. We need that to come back now. The offseason, I remind you guys, the offseason is one of the best parts of our season. Hopefully with John Harbaugh, that changes. Vegas has us at 8.5 over under. That's interesting. That is interesting. I can't say over right now. We'll see what the draft is looking like and what free agency looks like. Biggest question is when Malik comes back. That is a piece that I'm worried about, man. I am worried about Malik Neighbors. Still walking around on a crutch the other day is sad. So I hope Malik can get back in due time and be back healthy. Not push it. Get back healthy. I want him out there on the field for our quarterback's sake, but get back healthy. Say goodbye to Neal and Hyatt. Adios to both of them. Hyatt needs to get cut, and Neal did not get extended, so he will not be a New York Giant next year. How many primetime games do we get for next season? I do think that you'll see that change for us. I do think you're going to see a little bit more, which, I mean, we had already a fair share, but Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo definitely had the NFL going crazy. Now you add John Harbaugh to the crowd. Gonna see us on prime time. Let's go 4 primetime games. We got a Thursday night game, a Sunday night game, a Monday night game. Will we be on Christmas or Thanksgiving? Can we? Maybe JMS is gone if we get Linderbaum, which I'm okay with. Honestly. Do you think we tag Kayvon or trade him? I would trade Kayvon personally. I just don't know what kind of market he'll have. Last couple of years he's been hurt. Last year he was hurt. Sucks to see. He was playing his best ball before he got hurt. So, I mean, I'm on board to trade him, but we'll see ultimately. Kayvon is going to be on the roster this year, though. We did pick up his 5th-year option, so he will be on this team next year. Please, Lord, shout out Smooth Operator, man. And shout out to my guy Nelson, by the way. Appreciate y'all for tapping in the chat. Please, Lord, let Linderbaum and Likely follow Harbaugh to the Giants. I don't know about Likely, guys. I don't know if the Giants are going to spend some money on a tight end. Even though I will say it's just give Daniel Bellinger more. Give him more targets. He actually comes down with the ball. He's not as explosive as Theo Johnson or not as big, but man, he can catch the ball. I think Kayvon might get traded to free up cap. I can see him get traded. I just don't know who's going to be trading for him, what the market would look like. I mean, are you willing to part ways with him for a 4th-round pick? Because I just don't see, you getting a lot. Because whatever team trades for him has to sign him ultimately, and he's a guy that's been hurt. This is not Brian Burns getting traded. This is Kayvon Thibodeau, who's been hurt the last couple of years. So that's my thoughts on that, man. I could see him get traded though. I can see him get traded, and I would love to see the Giants make some moves overall to get this team in better shape. We got a little bit of cap space, and when I say a little bit, literally a little bit. So we're gonna have to make some moves, but a lot of people are talking about getting capital for Dexter Lawrence. He had low productivity last season. I still think it was because of the birth of a baby. And the elbow clearly was not right with Dexter Lawrence, right? We know that. The elbow was clearly not right. But I'm willing to listen, right? I'm willing to listen. Some people make the argument you're not going to get a Dexter Lawrence back. And I think when you look at trades, that's what a lot of people say. But man, I mean, the guy was just not the same player last year. Likely will be a star, bro. I'm telling you, he's way better than our tight ends. He probably is. He probably is. It's just a matter of if they want to spend resources on the tight end, which may be. Which may be. Any news on Monken? Do you think he's coming here? I don't think no new news. He's definitely the front runner for sure. He's interviewed for a couple different head coach spots, so barring him getting hired as a head coach, I think that's pretty much the only thing stopping it. I'm not worried about Dex personally. I'm a little worried. I'm gonna be honest. Dex is a Giant for life. Y'all tripping. No cap. Appreciate you tapping back in, man. Good to see you. I don't know. I don't know. I could see it. I mean, obviously he's in a contract, right? So I mean, if the Giants covet him, which I think they do, he's gonna stay. It's just truthfully, man, this guy was not performing last year. I don't know, man. This guy was not performing. I want to ask Harbaugh about the draft and get a feel of what he's leaning towards. He's definitely not going to show. He's not going to show his hands, or I don't think we'll see too much. I will say, once again, we support all Big Blue Giant content creators. Giants Nation show. They'll be out there for Senior Bowl, right? John Harbaugh will be out there for the Senior Bowl. So with that being said, you'll see some players, emerge from there. Overall, I do think this team needs work at every level of the team. Offensive line can never have too many. We talked about this from years. Can never have too many. Feel free to draft another one. Wide receiver. We need a wide receiver. The defensive line, the depth at defensive line. We need to add another one. Cornerback. We need to walk away this offseason with another one. You could argue every position, man, besides quarterback. Maybe running back, I guess. Who's your top 3 picks for DC? I've seen Anthony Weaver's name circulate, and that's kind of the front runner, if you would say a front runner. I would definitely say Anthony Weaver is one of the emerging candidates. I've seen Jim Leonard, who I believe was on Buffalo staff, if I'm not mistaken. So that's some guys that I've heard of as front runners, right? We need a defense that's going to be able to put this team in the best position, having all rushers on the field at the same time, not dropping these guys into coverage, not being vanilla. That's the basic thing, not being vanilla. So that's my thoughts on DC right now. Saquon is supposed to be a Giant for life. You're not wrong, man. Need to get him some help on the inside. He's double team, triple team for 6 to 7 years. Agreed. 6, 7. I see what you did there. Agreed, man. I'm there with you. It's just the last couple, not this past year, but the previous 2 years, he was splitting those double teams. Last year, you just didn't see it like that. You just didn't see it. But once again, I'm not even making an argument to not keep him. I wouldn't be surprised if they listen on offers, man. If someone offers a first round pick, are you going to say no to getting a Dexter Lawrence? I don't know, man. Any thoughts on John Harbaugh taking questions? There was no question that was alarming or anything. Like I said, Dan Duggan did ask why was, ownership, reporting to ownership a focal point, right? But other than that, all the questions were pretty vanilla. I just love what he spoke on when it came to football. Connor Hughes, I know we just saw them on Malik Neighbors saying, Joe Shane said the plan is for Malik Neighbors to be ready for the start of training camp and Camp Scatterville for the offseason programs. Plans can change, though. He added, see Andrew Thomas. That was the plan for Andrew Thomas, and then we know what happened. So there is this video real quick of Joe Shane. Once again, let me know if y'all can hear the video as I play it. Let me know if you guys can hear it. If you can't, good to know moving forward.
Joe, as you go forward here with John, did you get a contract extension or?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. Again, I'm looking forward to working with John, and again, it's going to be a collaborative effort. Him and I already had great conversations, and again, just attack the coaching staff first. That's what we're going to do, and then free agency and the draft. So looking forward to that.
That was pretty much Joe Shane talking about whether or not he's going to get a contract extension or whether he got one, and he wasn't touching that, rightfully so. Do we keep Belly and Theo if we get Likely? I don't see us keeping all 3. I think Belly might be up for contract. I could be wrong. I think he could be up for contract. So Theo's definitely going to be on this roster. I mean, Theo and Likely, I'm with it. Best way, if you don't land a top receiver, man, getting more threats at the tight end position. And we know Once again, the Baltimore Ravens had that. Who would you like us to take at 5 right now? Right before we hire John Harbaugh, I was looking at Jordan Tyson, Tate out of Ohio State. After hiring Harbaugh, I'm gonna start doing some research on Caleb Downs, man. If he falls to 5, I think we're taking him at 5. I just do. I'm interested to see what sophomore Abdul Carter looks like, and Abdul Carter led by John Harbaugh. I am interested to see that. Abdul balled at the end of the last part of the season, right? But overall, if you're gonna grade his season, I think he had a B, not even a B. It's more like a C season, right? He was not. He had a middle part of the season that kind of went missing. I'm gonna say B minus. I will say Brian Burns doesn't get those sacks if Abdul Carter's not on the field. Abdul Carter played every single game this season. In some games, right? He didn't have a sack for a long time. He didn't. But he's pressuring the quarterback like crazy. I hope nobody's trying to run with the political narrative because Trump wanted him to be a Giant. That was the one piece I wanted to touch on. Them talking about Trump sending out a tweet was hilarious. But that's a talking point in it overall. Definitely it was interesting on that piece. Once again, I'm waiting for a photo of John Harbaugh with the Giants helmet or something. I'm not getting anything. I haven't took no picture or anything. If you don't love football, you're not going to love it here. That's what John Harbaugh said, and that's what I'm going to walk away with overall, man. If you don't love football, you're not going to love it here. Yeah, no photo of the guy or anything. But what I will say is Jameis Winston was in the cut, though. We had a few players in the building. Jameis was one of them. Seemed like Jameis had a lot of offensive linemen. I don't know who else was there that we haven't seen, right? We got John Runyon. Oh, Greg Van Roten? Greg Van Roten, not John Runyon. Greg Van Roten. I think this is Chris Manhertz. Josh Azudu was there. I don't know if this is Josh Azudu, but Josh Azudu was in the building as well. The main thing I noticed with Abdul is he doesn't look as fast on the field as they said he was. At times, right? Around the edge, agreed. I just think ultimately he hasn't really built up any of his pass rush moves yet. Like if his speed is not, going to catch someone off guard, which once again, it didn't catch too many offensive linemen off guard. If his speed was not catching people off guard, then you didn't see him do anything on the edge. His spin move on the center is going to be a move that he's going to do probably his whole career. He's done it and he spammed it. So I can see that being a vital piece for him. Jameis definitely coming back as our number 2. Harbaugh gave him his flowers. Oh yeah, that was never in question. He's definitely gonna be the backup quarterback, and at least we've seen that he'll hold his own as a backup. We saw what Russell Wilson was. Once again, it's been a little while since I've been live. Russ talking about him tearing his hamstring, and that's why he tore his hamstring before that Cowboys game. Come on, like what are we talking about? Or was that the week of the Chiefs game? I don't remember. I think it was the week of the Cowboys. What are we talking about? Why are we making that a talking point? That was crazy. That was insane that Russ said that. People don't realize the Giants are closer to Pats and Bears and Browns and Titans. You could look at John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh signed with us off rip, right? The Browns are missing a head coach. The Titans are missing a head coach. Oh, actually, they just signed theirs. They did sign Rob Saleh from the 49ers. Agreed. Russ is a free agent, so we don't have to cut him. He was signed to a 1-year deal. Russ is definitely not going to be here next year. And honestly, I don't know if he's going to go anywhere else. But yeah, man, once again, there was people thought Cam Ward is going to be the reason why, they land their next coach, and John Harbaugh was going to love Tennessee. He picked the New York Giants. He wanted to be with the New York Giants, man. How we got no photo of this man with the helmet yet? How we got no photo with this man in the Giants helmet yet? Dayball definitely going to the Bills now. I do think that's going to be a topic. Do you expect kicking competition with Ben Sauls? For sure, it's going to be a competition. I'm just glad we had a kicker that can kick. We went through what, 3 kickers last year? We went through 4 kickers last year. Ben Sauls being the last one. What a year, man. What a year that hopefully we all forget. We won't forget it for Jackson Dart's rookie season. I mean, I'm looking at, and it's a shame that Bo Nix went down with the injury, but I have this vendetta with the Broncos because of that week. I still hold on to that week like it was yesterday. That Denver Broncos and Giants matchup. We're going to remember for Jackson Dart's rookie season, but everything else, you can toss it, man. Dayball definitely showed us he was a class act. Him speaking to, John Harbaugh, convincing him. Good vibes, man. Overall, I love the way this team is right now. We're going to see who we hire as offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, but this is history for the New York Giants. Literally, this is history. Their 21st head coach. This is history. And hopefully we're heading to there we go. 37 minutes late. I'm 37 minutes late. This was posted 37 minutes ago. This is it right here. I was waiting on this whole time. Joe Shane, John Harbaugh holding that Giants helmet. Regardless how things ended, I will always have respect for Dayball. He's a good guy and give us Dart over Shador. He did give us Dart over Shador, man. He did. And overall, just be transparent, right? I just don't think he's a good head coach. Good offensive coordinator, could have a good relationship with the player. We know Jackson Dart was balling with Dayball, and then he had a little rough patch without him. So Dayball still could have that connection, but hey, shout out to Dayball. Best is ahead, unless he signs with the stinking Eagles. If Dayball signs with the stinking Eagles, it is what it is. I could care less about what happens moving forward. I wanted Shador so bad. So glad we didn't get him. I wanted him at 1.2, man. It was definitely the hype behind it. Hungry young players are what win you playoffs and championships. Hopefully we got the guy that puts us in the right standpoint, y'all. Right here. John Harbaugh is the New York Giants head coach. 21st head coach of the New York Giants, and hopefully this is a step in the right direction. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me after this live stream or after that live stream and jumping on this live stream. Stay tuned for more Giants content. Once again, I am dipping into a videography business and in my personal life, I got some things, but Giants football revolves, comes back around. We're going to hire our OC, our DC, and I'm going to be here to talk about it for sure. I appreciate you guys for tapping in with me. Stay tuned for more content. Hope you guys have a blessed one. I will catch you guys.